continue with a bit of housekeeping. We do have restoration reports from the governor's 2022 Restoration Summit, and those are available now on the sign-in table where you came in. Please take a copy if you would like to. Our focus today is the draft state expenditure plan, or SEP amendment number 2. This amendment was released for public comment on August 15th, 2023, and the 45-day public comment period ended October 6th. To get us started, I will turn it over to Mr. John Driscoll, the Director and CEO of the Alabama State Port Authority and Vice Chair of the Alabama Gulf Coast Recovery Council. So, Driscoll.
Call your name.
finishing the full design. Um, and that project closure is also part of the amendment we're discussing today. During the public comment period, which was again August 15th to October 1st, we received 3 public comments, and we will respond to those comments when the final approved SEP amendment is published. Again, Alabama proposes to reserve $33 million in contingency funds to augment, or we call it plus up, the budgets of previously approved SEP projects. This is in response to cost increases for labor or materials, not within the AGCRC's or anybody's control, really. The purpose of this funding is to enable approved projects to be completed as previously described in the state expenditure plan. Again, the overall scope or objective of these projects will not change. There will be no change in the primary eligible activity and overall scope. I think I've said the same thing about 4 times, but it's a really important point. If the contingency funds are used to augment the budget of an SEP project that constitutes an infrastructure project pursuant to the Restore Act, so infrastructure as defined in the Restore Act of 2012, those additional funds will be counted against the statutory 25% cap on infrastructure. So those of you that were here in the planning from the beginning may remember Bucket 3 has a 25% cap on infrastructure. All we're saying is we'll make sure we don't break that rule with this funding, and we won't. If for any reason the sponsor proposes a material change in the scope or overall objective of an SEP project, then an additional SEP amendment will be required. Additionally, if the sponsor proposes using any of the contingency funds for another project or program not previously described in the state expenditure plan, then another amendment would be required. To reiterate one more time, no new projects are being proposed at this time. In addition, again, the Alabama Point seawall repair project will be closed and removed from the plan. Just a brief initial topographic and underwater surveys were completed, and the budget needed to accomplish that repair is outside the scope of what Restore could fund. So those funds will be de-obligated and returned to the contingency funds to be used to cover costs associated with existing SEP projects. Today, and let me show you this just briefly, this is an estimate of, on the specific projects, the additional cost increase. Some of these obviously are a lot higher than others. The reason for that is in the First Amendment, not all these projects requested contingency funds. The second reason is we underestimated with the First Amendment. So again, all of these are to finish out these projects to get the work done. So to look at the timeline of what happens next, today the AGCRC will vote on whether to approve this amendment to the state expenditure plan and then to send it for review and approval to the Federal Restore Council. So what this vote does today, again, is send it to the federal agency that oversees the funding. That agency will then put it out for another 45-day, if they vote to do so, put it out for another 45-day public comment period. Yes. Yes, sir. I would say on the two big ones on there, well, the three really, Little Lagoon, Perch Creek, and 3 Mile Creek. Perch Creek, that project is a sewer repair that's badly needed to existing leaking sewer lines. And like many of the sewer projects, again, materials were a lot more expensive. And I think probably once you had engineering and design, the problem was maybe a little bit more than originally anticipated. And also just that sort of work, the price of concrete has gone way, way up. On 3 Mile Creek, similarly, what most of this money does is help with dredging at Langham Park. And again, moving, I don't know how to say it eloquently, moving dirt is one of the most expensive things you can do. So with that, and then with Little Lagoon restoration, that is a great project. It's got a lot of different moving parts. There's a septic to sewer component of it, a living shorelines component. It's just, again, it's a materials and cost issue. So did that cover it, Mayor? Would you like me? Okay. Thank you. So then to return to our timeline, if you look at the very first blue box, the draft state expenditure plan amendment was released. We had the 45-day public comment that just recently ended at the first part of October. Where the red star is, we are here today at the public meeting and vote. Once we're done here today, if the amendment is approved, we will submit that amendment to the Federal Restore Council. They will then vote. The Federal Restore Council is comprised of the 5 Gulf states, Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Texas, and federal agencies. If they vote to release it for public comment, which they should, it should go out on November 17th for a 45-day public comment there. Then after that, we should vote to get council approval. After that, what that has done is amended the plan. Each of these projects that I just showed you are within that plan. So the next step is to work on amending the grant applications and the notices of award for each individual project. So with that, I would ask, I think, turn it back to Mr. Driscoll. Yes, public comment. Before I do that, I'll take a break to ask if anyone in the audience would like to comment on the amendment or has a public comment. Again, you can come up to the microphone if you would like us to bring the microphone to you. That's easily done. I would ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes, and at the beginning to state your name and group affiliation so the court reporter can capture that information. So with that, again, thank you for your attendance today. Do we have any public comment? Yes, sir. Bring in the microphone. Yeah. You can get, all right, we move it just a little bit closer. Oh, yeah.
I don't know much about this until I got on my email a couple days ago. I'm just telling them money that's been spent Baldwin County. I know there's a lot of problem with sewage Baldwin County that's not been addressed, but I see it's been spent elsewhere. I want to know who keep an eye on this money that's spent to make it spent directly right for the people. not being spent. Certain places that I see, we got several places in Baldwin County for a sewer. And then the infrastructure, you don't see nothing for people that fall short. When they get thrown out their house, we need somewhere where these people can go for emergency stay, and we need affordable care. Affordable housing. A lot of money being spent when you say restore. So I would like for you guys to educate me on a lot of this stuff that's going on, but it's not being spent where it should be spent at.
Yes, sir. Do we have additional public comment? I would say, sir, to the first part of your, and we'll respond formally, but I would say to the first part of your comment, in another source of funding where we have a water quality program, you're correct. There are a lot of needs with sewer projects. On that project, again, separate source of funding, but we had $35 million available, and we got $216 million of request. So the amount of work that needs to be done far exceeds even the most money we have. And in terms of who keeps an eye on this funding, that's me and my staff. We monitor the projects. We have monthly meetings with each of the people who are implementing the projects. We do have in Baldwin County, we have sewer projects that are ongoing in Fairhope. Orange Beach has completed 8 miles of a sewer force main, and I always hesitate to start naming the sewer projects because I inevitably am going to leave out some of them, but water quality is one of our main focuses of this program, as it should be, I think. Thank you for your comment. Do we have other comments? Good. Seeing no more, I will turn it back to Mr. Driscoll for discussion and vote.
Question on the Alabama Port Law project, how much allocated, how much is remaining after the
Right. Will be returned. Roughly as Michelle said, roughly $2 million will be returned. I don't recall the starting budget. I'll find that out, Commissioner Dewitt, and let you know. Okay, sorry. Roughly 2.5 was originally allocated. So about 500,000 has been spent on topographic surveys. Things.
What was the topographical work? What did the total that it was going to cost over the initial budget? How much that would have been?
Tens of millions. Way over. Yes, maybe, yes. More and more. State Aldott property that you Aldott. Avoiding the process we thought just beyond the scope of what was doing.
And I would add that the surveys and the work that have been done can be used when it is repaired. So though that wasn't for nothing, it can be applied to the eventual restoration of that. Mhm.
With a vote, so. Federal restored. Second. Now, what's on the table is to vote on what Dr. Hunter has put forward to the membership here for the Alabama amendment to the state expenditure plan, which will increase that by $33 million. I'll go through the votes of each one of the members here, if I could, please. Starting with Commissioner Charles Gruber,
Yes.
Commissioner Randall Dewitt,
Yeah.
Mayor Henry Barnes,
Yes.
Mayor Jeff Collier,
Yes.
Mayor Robert Kraft,
Yes.
Mayor Sherry Sullivan, Mayor Sandy Stimson,
Yes.
and Mayor Tony Keenan.
Yes.
And John Driscoll, I'm a yes as well. So thank you for the vote. That concludes the AGCRC's business today. I would entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Meeting is adjourned.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you. This concludes our public meeting. As a reminder, the slides will be available tomorrow on outdooralabama.com. We appreciate your attendance very much and your continued engagement in Alabama's Deepwater Horizon restoration efforts. And we're done.